Jesus is furious in the gospel. What is going on? Why is he so angry? And look at that, and we have to understand the setting. So he's angry at the people selling animals and at the money changers. Let's start with the money changers. What's going on? You could not use regular money to give at the temple. Regular money, especially Roman coin, was profane. You had to use special money, temple money, Disney money at the temple. And so you would have to exchange your money, and of course there was a percentage, a fee, to change that money into temple money. That's what the money changers did. You see, the poor were being ripped off in broad daylight in the name of God. That's what really was going on. They were having to pay a toll to get into the temple. And then there are the animal sellers. More money. You had to have a sacrifice, but you could not bring your own animals because it was the law that they had to be without blemish. Now, if you brought your animal there, the priest was for certain to tell you it wasn't good enough. You could not have a blemish according to the law. And they would certainly find something wrong with your animal, and you would have to buy from the people who sold the animals at the temple. Money was passing hands all over the place. And the priests, I'm sure, were at the top of the scheme. Jesus was furious. These poor people coming to the temple, so many of them, being ripped off in the name of God. And Jesus was to put an end to sacrifice at the temple. Now, we might be thinking to ourselves, what's Jesus doing? I just want to say that during the filming of this gospel, no one was harmed. But only people's pride. He overturned the money changers' tables. He knocked open the cages. We might be thinking about that whip. I don't think Jesus was cracking whips on people. Have you ever cracked a whip in a room full of animals? You don't have to hit them. What happens? They all run. They all go crazy. Can you imagine the commotion that was going on when Jesus did this? Absolutely crazy. His anger was on full display. Now this begs a question. You might be thinking, yeah, Jesus, get him. Right? But does Jesus get angry at us? Does he ever get angry at us? I know we can be quick to get angry at other people, that we may have righteous anger like Jesus. But before we get so righteous on other people, we better make sure we got that 2x4 out of our eyes. What might God get angry at us about? Now, we might be thinking about those hot-button issues, those hot-button sins in our life. But God was most merciful when it came to those, when it comes to those. What made Jesus so angry in Scriptures was people's ignorance towards one another and their hypocrisy. And I think these other hot-button sins are a smokescreen. I think the devil has fun with us to get us focused on that, to become self-absorbed from the bigger sins in our life, the corporate sin. I think God might be angry at us about our ignorance of the poor, how we ignore them. When we make out our budget, where is the budget line item for the poor? Is it at the bottom? Is it even on the list? Or is it a priority? Or maybe God is angry at us about our ignorance of community. We get so focused on just our little groups and our little cell, our little family, that we don't see beyond that. Pretty soon it's just a small little group of people, and we don't really care about other people. Are we increasing our circle of people in our life? Are we doing that in our small community? Are we doing that as a church? Are we busy trying to throw people out that we don't like? Or are we welcoming here? Do we present a warm vibe at church or a cold vibe at church? How are we when it comes to the stranger or the immigrant? Talk about hypocrisy. We were once strangers ourselves. Or how about maybe God is angry at us about our prejudices? No one likes a bully, right? We don't like to be bullied. Why is it okay to bully people? Or maybe God is angry at us about our lack of forgiveness. So much hypocrisy there. So many things in our life we want to be forgiven for, but we don't forgive others. So many things we just assume God forgives us, and we balk at forgiving others. Yes, I think God gets angry at us at times, but I want to be clear. We may be afraid of God's anger. And I want to say in God's anger, there is no wrath. There is no revenge. His anger is about change and wanting us to change in how we treat others, the body of Christ, and how we treat ourselves in the end. We start eliminating people, the poor, the people we don't like. The next thing you know, there's nobody. We're living in a hole in the ground. Hell. God is not going to deny what we choose in the end. But it doesn't mean that He's going to be happy about it. God will not tolerate these things in heaven. Much less should we tolerate them in our church. kind of talking about divine anger. But I'll leave it for another homily to another feeling that God has: sadness.